at the 212 company. Can you tell the people who we're speaking with?
Peace. I'm Marsh. I am a visual artist, and I create Martian vibes. So whether that's tattooing, painting, custom clothing, anything like that, I do it.
In your Instagram bio, you have the artist sees what others only catch a glimpse of, and here's my view. Can you tell me what that means to you?
Even like I kind of feel like I gravitated toward that when I did a little bit of photography. I played with some photography, and I found out that this city that I lived in forever had really beautiful things for me to see, but I only saw it once I put myself in an artist's point of view. When I was viewing the world, or when I view things just as a regular person going through life versus me being an artist, it's different. When I look at the sky, I see shapes. When I see buildings, I see shapes. That's how I draw. That's how things are given to me. When I look at people, I see interesting things about you, and it makes me want to draw you because of what I see. The features on you are interesting to me. So I capture basically what my eyes view, but also what I think is interesting for other people to see too. Or that's what I'm showing. I'm showing you what I think is what other people want to see.
You talked about how your city plays a role in some of your art. Can you talk about where you're from and how that influences your creativity?
I'm from New Haven. I'm from the Tray. I have some island background, my family them. But mostly I think when I think about certain parts of my art, when I do like the mass, the things that are really cultural, I think that is more so that goes back to my own heritage. But when I think about me presenting pieces that are urban, I get that from being in the city. I get that from being, being a kid running around the projects with all the other kids that was running around. I get the I didn't even know what Friday was because of my own thing. I knew what Friday was because of the environment that I was in. My friends were watching it. They were talking about it. They wanted to, we're acting like Smokey, all of the things. And so now when I think about a lot of the stuff I create, and especially for Black people, I highlight things like Black dope ass movies. I highlight dope ass rappers and all of the lyricists and things like that, because we are important. We literally make this world go round. Mm-hmm. Without us, it's not much left. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we are it. And so being around Black people and appreciating Black people and them appreciating me helped me as an artist, helps me want to see things that are beautiful that we love. I want the rest of the world to see that. You know what I'm saying? So.
And speaking of the Friday artwork that you did, I did see it. I'm such a fan of it. What age did you get into your artistry, and what did you do first?
So growing up, my grandma used to say I was an artist, and I'd be like, no, I just know how to draw, Grandma. I'm not an artist. I could never be an artist. But growing into myself, but also when my mom would say things like, you need to go in there and sit down and watch TV with your brothers and sisters, I didn't really want to watch TV. So in order to be doing what my mom told me, but also satisfying my own needs, I would take my sketchbook and draw the cartoons as they were happening. And so that's how I really got into the whole art stuff. And then eventually I decided I wanted to do tattoos. And once I decided I wanted to do tattoos, my mentor was like, okay, well, you can't just tattoo. You got to do other elements of art. And so that is what made me even get into painting and things like that.
So I was just going to ask about that because, once again, you are so dope. You're so talented in so many different things. Do you think that was the turning point for you when you started to take yourself a little bit more serious?
Absolutely.
As branding yourself as an artist?
Absolutely. And I would even go as far as saying there were probably 2 years of tattooing before I even decided to call myself an artist. Mm-hmm. Like that. Truly. And what's so funny is, even because I went to Gateway for a little while, because I wanted to I wanted to deepen my skills graphic wise. And so that's what I went for. But when I went in, the professor, the very first thing he said when he walked into the class, we all excited, got our millions of art products just ready, like, okay, what are we going to do? And the very first thing he walked in and said, I just want to let you guys know that none of you are artists. So don't even think about it. I'm the
Mm.
only artist in here.
Whoa.
That was him. For me, at first, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's kind of mean. But when I think about the perspective of now where I'm at as an artist, right? I have to know policy. I have to know all of these things that did not involve what I thought at the time of me being an artist. I thought an artist was just drawing, just painting, just creating. But there's so much more responsibility to it. And I didn't learn that. I didn't know that. Therefore, I didn't earn that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like now, anyway, I really be walking around here feeling like an artist. Like, yeah, I put in work. I did the research. I know what paint works here. I know what, I have specifically art sneaker, just random things that collectively all come together and make me an artist. But for a long time, I didn't think I was an artist. I didn't ever think I was gonna be an artist. I wanted to do athletic training. That's what I originally went to school for.
And so we're standing at this really, really beautiful piece that you were working on here. Can you talk about what this piece means for you? What was the mission behind it? And what is your take on what it kind of means to you?
Okay. So an equalizer is something that, the thing that we watch when music plays and you see all the squares, they're mad colorful and they go up and down, but they still create this beat. And it's still something when you're watching it, you could get lost in.
Yeah.
That's what this is. This is an example of how, even though it takes a bunch of different notes to make a beautiful song, when you place them visually on paper, on something, and then you watch them together, they create harmony. And so I feel like with all the ways that we are different, that if we can recognize and appreciate each other for the ways that we are great, like each color on this ground here, it will then allow us to create a place of harmony where we could all grow together and work together and have just a beautiful place to live. And so this is an example of being different, but coming together and creating something beautiful.
Nice. And I think that's dope to hear the message that a lot of people need to hear and ingrain inside their personal beliefs also.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I specifically think that this piece being downtown New Haven is like cool because we have the luxury apartments, but then we have the people who live throughout the city who actually come to downtown every day and make downtown this vibing, moving, loud place, beautiful place to be, right? But it's those two things that make it a thing. If it was just the luxury apartments down here, I think it would be pretty boring.
Yeah. I really like your art style. I think that it's very unique to you. Can you talk about what was the process of developing that?
Sheesh. Honestly, it took me forever to develop my style. And I think that is constantly growing and changing. I feel like it has some parts that are very consistent, but then there are parts that I give myself freedom to either incorporate, not incorporate, but there are some things that no matter what, you see it and you know that that is me. It took me a while when I first started painting. The first year I started painting, I was just painting. I was just doing stuff. And it wasn't until I had to move that I was sitting in my little art studio and I was like, wow, look at all of these pieces. And I had them all like kind of next to each other and everything. And as I'm looking at them, I then could see like my whole journey that year was like, I need a style. I need to have a style. And I felt like it wasn't happening. Like it wasn't there yet. But at the end of the year, or when it was time for me to move anyway, I took all of these pieces and had them together. And you could literally see the consistency in all of them, even though they were different things. And so I was like, oh, shit, I do have a style. So, that was a very uplifting moment for me. It made me want to create even more. And it made me be mindful of what elements I actually added into my pieces consistently.
Last thing, if somebody wanted to purchase some of your art, is that available and how would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. You could purchase my art. You could go to my website, my Instagram. It's marshanart.com. That's MARSHUNART. And that's the same thing for my Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, TikTok. Every now and then I do outside vending type situations. And if you follow my social media, you'll be able to see when those things are happening.
For sure. Clocking with that. Thank you for coming. Last thing you want to say to the viewers, if you have anything you wanted to say about other artists that want to get into the path that you're on right now, or just some advice for people that's coming up.
First, I would just like to let everybody know that I don't just create art, but I help other people become artists too. I do paint nights. I do all of the, whatever you want to call it, a puff and paint, sip and paint, old lady and paint, church and paint, break, whatever it is. I do all of that. And what I would like to say to the people is, if you're an artist or you know an artist, you have a little artist you're raising, feed it to them, feed into them, pour into them. Make sure they know that what they're doing is something cool, something that they could actually make a life. It's not easy at all, but it's worth it.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you. Peace.
Okay, welcome back to Soul Family. Today we are with
KP.
All right. So, let's start off by telling people who you are and what is your art that you create.
My name is KP. I'm a visual artist of all sorts. I do multimedia art, I do painting, do it all really. My art style, I guess, is like the element of surrealism, I guess, like for the essence of what I do.
All right, and so what did you get into first? You do painting and you do some other things. What was the first thing that you got into?
I think the first thing naturally was drawing and painting. So as a kid, I used to do a lot of poetry and stuff like that. So that was just me, but then it went off into me doing photography, and then that branched off into everything else.
Right, and so how long has it been officially, I guess, since you've been taking it 100% serious?
My entire life.
Oh, okay, I respect it.
Professional.